Wednesday, 7 to 9, you need to check them out. I promise I ain't trying to hype, but one good listen tonight, it might change your life. So what's the name of the show? When you need something to just ride to on the go, or you might be home, so log on. You can even dial in on your phone. I promise that you're gonna love it. Just try it one time, it'll blow your mind. Now I'ma say it just one more time. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, LG. We're back.
Good evening. Hey, Tonia. Good evening, MG.
What up? What up? How y'all doing?
Man, it's good to be back. Happy Wednesday, April.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
The 5th,
April
2023.
5th. So, Marcus, MG, I like that bed. Mckenna, he looking swag, ain't he?
Beard games matter.
Oh,
yeah, beard games matter. Yeah. He probably be on Walmart like, let me just get in here and get out.
I'm just saying.
Don't stop at Crickets or anything like that because it's going to be a problem.
No.
I'm just saying, MG, you looking good. Mckenna, you looking good. Thank over you. There.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't seen y'all in a month of Sundays.
It's been about 2 months of Sundays.
I'm just saying. I feel like I should say Happy New Year all over again. Like, what's crack-a-lackin'?
I feel the same way. But, of course, there's a lot of things went down. Of course, sometimes we got to step away for a minute and just kind of get control of life and stuff. There's some changes since we haven't been here. But, as we do these shows, some things is going to come out. But until then, oh my goodness, we got to get to it because we can't even go back. We just going to have to start off from Sunday.
Yeah.
How about the LSU?
Yeah.
Let's give those young ladies what?
Round of applause.
The buzz. You want to get in it? Because I know, Mark, MG, that's you and Mckenna road right there. Go on and get in it.
I'll just jump off. I did watch the Final Four. So I watched Iowa and South Carolina. And that was a good game. Iowa pulled through, and everybody thought that Iowa was the underdog. But they pulled through and held their own, but I kind of just knew that once they got over to LSU, it was going to be a different type of experience. But there was some communication about, and maybe MG will address this about the person showing the ring sign, and I'll let you share about that. But I just thought that it's still yet again interesting how the rules aren't the same for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have to have these types of conversations, second quarter of 2023, about how Black and Brown people, when we communicate and express ourselves, are judged differently sometimes than our non-melanated counterparts who do the same thing or perform the same gestures, and how one is praised and saluted and the other is frowned upon and condemned. So yeah, that's my takeaway. But congratulations, kudos, high five. I'm sure that celebration was epic in that area when they went home. So big things popping for those young ladies. And their flamboyant coach with her dynamite suit that she had on.
That thing was fire. No, but it was an interesting scenario. Of course, all the uproar is about the taunting and or sportsman or unsportsmanlike behavior from when the young lady from Iowa made the gesture between in front of two teams, I guess, during the tournament. And then when they got to LSU, young lady did the same thing to her. But I think we've known a lot of this before. I think at times when we're shown the discrepancy between what one person does and what the other person does as it pertains to race, some of us are surprised, some of us are not, because we've always known it's been there. It's just the other people who believe that it's not there. They're usually the other ones that are shocked. I can't believe that you would do this. I can't believe um, how blatant the narrative is around surrounding this is. But I knew it from the gate when they interviewed her before the South Carolina game, because I don't think they interviewed any. I don't remember them. I mean, maybe I wasn't paying attention to it, but I don't remember them interviewing the other players from the other teams in the Final Four. I just remember them interviewing her, and I knew that once she won against South Carolina, her popularity is gonna take off. Um, Iowa, of course, as many people know, is a predominantly white team. Um, I don't know if South Carolina is a predominantly black team. They are coached by a black woman. Um, LSU is presumed to be a predominantly black team as compared to Iowa, anyway. Um, so you do have that narrative as it surrounds race, and it just goes back to show comfort, people's comfort, whether it's conscious or subconscious, people's comfort of what they believe, race should be or should look like, and how people should act. You had people who were, I guess, have some type of platform, really coming after the young lady from LSU, calling her an idiot, um, and other terms. Um, Nothing overtly racist in the terms from your major outlets. I'm sure amongst the social media and Twitter words, I'm sure some people called her some other things, but amongst the people that have some type of following. Um, but it wasn't surprising that that would happen. I knew the narrative was going to be strong for the young lady for Iowa. It's unfortunate that it has gone and been a lot bigger than it is. Um, because as many said, it took away from the phenomenal game that it was and the phenomenal ratings that they had as far as women's basketball goes. But, you know.
Yeah, here we go again. But like you said, it's not surprising. It's just more annoying that it's still a conversation that we have to have. But I do like that the spotlight shined on it and people were able to compare and contrast in real time, those differences. And it's hard to dispute facts, especially when, we can capture them and put them side by side. The comments and the commentary, the gesture, and the perspective of people who are hating on one and not on the other. And so that's one thing that the technology piece in the real time and the social media can capture and say, okay, this is the fact here. Like it or love it, dispute it if you want to. It's right here in black and white. But again, as athletes, we're very proud of them. The team, they did a great job, and they deserve to be number one. They fought hard for it, and they won. And we look forward to seeing more of them around the curve and down the street to see what other great things that they do individually and collectively.
Well, my take on everything, guys, is that you remember that saying your mom say, you can't do what everybody do. I feel that in this way, one can do it, but the other can't. But I love how our community, and there's also the white community that did come to Angel Reese's defense, as far as saying, "Hey, this is what games are. It's heated. This is a heated game. This is, a do or die. So, trash talking is okay. It's okay." So I love this. I love the way everyone, all races came and said no. Why would we make it? But it's sad because, again, like you said, we're still talking about this in 2023. We will never, us brown skin, we are never going to be considered equal to white. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But it's good to see how we are evolving. When you say we can't, we're showing you that we can. So every day we're just put it in their face, and they don't like it. So if they get one chance to find something to critique us about or call us not classy, ghetto, they're going to do it no matter what. Some people didn't even come from, as you would say, the ghetto or the hood, but they were termed that just because of the color of their skin. So, again, I just love the way us Black people, African American, brown skin, whatever you want to call yourself, I love the way that nowadays, at one point, I think we had this conversation last year when we said the new generation, like, they're no joke. And really and truly, they're proving it more and more every day. And they are not backing down to nothing. And I love it. At first, I was kind of like, okay, they kind of doing too much. But I'm glad that they are. Because I think, we're in our older age, we're going to be sitting back like, oh my goodness, I remember when our ancestors couldn't even dare do that. So it's kind of like I have really good faith in the future because they're not backing down. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, they kind of, but you know what? That's what they need. That is what we need. And I believe that if we keep educating ourselves and reaching for the stars, I believe that, yeah, we're going to be the dominant race. We already is, but I mean in a higher level. So I think that's where we're going in the future. That's my take on the whole
But I do think
LSU in Iowa.
I do think that's interesting that I think we talked about this before of how bold this newer generation is going forward, and that you know I call them the social media generation. It is interesting that they gain so much information nowadays, and as McKenna said before, a lot of stuff is in real time as opposed to you have to read about it a day later or something in the paper or somewhere else. But everybody's getting information in real time, and these kids are not they not wasting any time. And it's an interesting dynamic because it's from what we've seen from past protests, it's not just us, black and brown people. It's white people that uh, are jumping up to these causes too as well, and sometimes they are at the forefront of fighting. Um, and speaking in reference to the people that lost their lives over that young man, but I think I just real quick I agree with you 100%, Tonya. Like this generation is bold. They know what they want, and they're not afraid to fight for it, and I love it.
Woo-hoo. I'm just saying, I'm just wondering what name they're going to give their self. You know how we had like the Black Panthers, and we had the even the Muslim. It's kind of like what they're going to give their name. Hey Carolyn, hey Kate, chat. How
Well,
you guys doing?
they had a name. It kind of some people took advantage of it and kind of did
Oh,
some
that
things to
one,
to
the
the
BM.
movement. Yeah.
They did a few
Oh,
financial indiscretions.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so are we going to talk about what happened on, was that Tuesday, yesterday?
we're going to talk about Orange.
I was wondering what name we were going to use today. We're going to use
We're going to
Orange.
give him Orange.
Okay. So I wish we could post some of the funny memes that I've seen about yesterday. Somebody posted a picture of Trump Towers, but it looked like the tower from the penitentiary, the tower where the guard is, able to watch over the yard. I think that one was the one that had me in the most tears. I was like, wow, not T Towers.
Well, I mean, but it is. I mean, but what so I'm not one of the ones like, yeah, they got him. He's gonna go to prison or he's gonna get a felony. I'm not one of those one because how I feel about it, none of the white prosecutors in the last 4, 5, 6 years and longer have decided not to touch him. I'm disappointed that majority of the prosecutors, especially Atlanta and DC, is it DC and New York? They're black.
Are you?
They're black.
Are you disappointed in that though?
I'm disappointed that they are using our black people to do that. And I strongly believe because of that, he's not going to be found guilty.
For me personally, I never thought he would. And I don't know what the charges are. I'm unfamiliar with the charges and what they hold. Um, I think this game is always going to be the game. Like people, they're going to take care of their own regardless. You know what I mean? Like we'll go through all this stuff and this evidence. Evidence is there. Evidence is glaring. But when you know a bunch of powerful people, you tend to get powerful results in your favor. If that's what you know. So I never anticipate, no matter who brought the charges, I never anticipated that he would be found guilty of anything. Because he hasn't thus far. And I don't think there's any black, white, or whoever that would have been able to. He's had
convict him.
Hey, I mean, he's had history. He was running for president of the United States and sexually harassing women, and people were just like, yeah, that's just stuff he do.
And he still won. I know. I don't feel comfortable that it is going to be. It's going to be stained in history, and it's going to be stained as these black prosecutors are the ones who brought this case, didn't have enough evidence, etc., etc. That's the only thing that I'm thinking about. I'm not happy about it, like, because.
So you anticipate no charges will actually be carried out, or that they'll stick as well. Then, is that the case, right?
I'm just believing that he's not going to be found guilty.
Right.
Mckenna?
I think that it's interesting that it made it this far. It is a sign that the hands of justice are slow, but they still move. And whether or not the outcome is guilty or not guilty, more of the evidence will be revealed for those that are really interested in the facts, not just the emotionality of it or the politics of it, but those professors and students and journalists and historians who are interested in the actual facts. This is going to be part of history. It'll make it to a debate class, or it'll make it to a chapter in a textbook. It'll be conversation that will be ongoing in the future about this president, who none other before him was actually indicted on said charges. And whether or not he's found guilty or not guilty, I'm not necessarily invested in the outcome because, I believe that we all have a judgment that we'll have to go through one day, and we'll have to answer in some shape, form, or fashion. And sometimes the sins of the father don't get adjudicated with the father, that those sins get passed on. And other people down his lineage actually will bear the consequences of the sin, so to speak, that he has purported or committed, against America, against the whole concept of making America great, and the politics that goes behind it. And then just, his inability. I read an article that, you know, some people are socialized not to admit when they make a mistake, and that's just how they're raised. And we have a culture of people, maybe in his generation or in his class or in his economic status, who were taught to stick with, like, I wasn't there. It wasn't me. Like Shaggy said, it wasn't me. I wasn't there. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. And they will stick with that. And because you have grown into that delusion and that version of the truth, which is the lie, you don't know how to pivot from that. And so I think this is an example of, you know, the old dog that's not going to learn something different. He's going to stick with, at least outwardly, you know, maybe there are some things that are happening within him that we can't see, that he may be changing or willing to accept the possibility of being accountable for what other people say is illegal, mainly the law. You know, things that you, if you read more, you might be able to see more of how your actions are in conflict with what the law says. But even a recent post that I saw, there were some comments that he made, and I don't know how recent they were because I didn't read the whole article, but it said something to the effect that I never meant for Mexico to have to pay for the wall. Like, is this Alzheimer? Don't you remember what you said? Are you just oblivious to the truth? Are you just making a mockery of history because everything that you said has been recorded? So again, to my point basically is I'm not invested in whether or not he gets locked up. I'm more invested in, will we have the opportunity as the American public to actually have access to all of the information and review it if we choose to? And then let the justice system run its course. And then because the one person or the one state, you know, was bold enough, we just talked about this boldness, was bold enough to say, despite what you heard, I'm going to go ahead and prosecute this case because these are the facts. And according to the information that I see, it meets the statute of an indictment because we wouldn't be this far if it didn't meet the level. And maybe other states, Georgia primarily, will, and then of course the Justice Department, you know, with the other charges, you know, maybe there will be some momentum behind those other charges too, because sometimes you have to have that one victim that stands out and says, well, this happened to me, you know, and then before you know it, there's 3 or 4 other women or other people or other victims, whatever the situation is, that have the courage to do the right thing. So we'll see.
Well, we will see. One of Carolyn said, she says 34 felony charge saying he paid off people, but the lawyers made the payment and all he has to say is that he was not aware. She said it's a waste of taxpayers' money.
Is this a RICO case?
For the Trump case.
Yeah, but it's not a RICO case?
This first one is not. This is not a RICO case. Mm-mm.
Okay.
But they did 34 separate counts of felony charges. So we'll see it. Maybe some of them will be thrown out. Maybe they'll plead down. It wouldn't surprise me. Maybe they plead it down to a misdemeanor and he gets, you know, a $50,000 fine and, you know, 200 hours of community service.
All right. Yeah.
I think what they're really great caring for is so he can get a felony so he can't run for president. Just like they did with my boy Victor Hill in Clayton County. They just put, you know, they found him guilty. I did not check to see
So Tonia,
what his sentence was because I don't care because I'm mad.
It's 18 months. He got 18
months. But see, that's not bad. And he probably don't even get to do about 2. But he just can never run for public office again. They did not stop. So they get him.
So did you see the chair that he had those people bound in and for the length of time that he had them?
That same chair you're talking about has always been there.
Mm-hmm. No, yes, the chair. The length of time.
Other sheriffs used to do the same thing. And, you know, most likely it was to the Black people.
So you're saying that it is okay because other people did it?
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying.
What are you saying?
It comes
exactly?
right back to you can't do what other people do.
Okay. All right then.
I'm just saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it from Tonia. You cannot do what other people do. Like
Because guess what?
my grandma used to say, a man can't do what a woman can do, and a woman can't do what a man can do. And I would be like, well, what does that mean? A woman can't do what a man can do. Keep living, you'll understand it.
But
That was like
nowadays, now it's a whole
the
different
answer was
story.
keep living, you'll understand it. And so, but that's, I mean, it really is the fact because the more you live, the more you understand. Like,
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
I mean, so I'm not saying what he did was right, and I'm like I said, everything he was taught that was something that was going on before. I just again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but because he was in, y'all know how I feel about people in the prison system anyway. You do the crime, you do the time, and I believe they're the ones who's supposed to be sent over the seas to fight these wars and to deep sea dive to look for things. See, Carolyn said it's okay. It was okay when a white exactly. So it's just like it's not even at this point. It goes right back to when we first started the show about the black and white narrative with certain things. Not saying that he was right, but again, for me with prisoners, I don't have too much remorse on them, especially the ones who are really criminals. There are people who have been convicted wrongly. So I'm just saying I don't have too much remorse for them. But hey, we're talking about that. We did start at 7:30. We might go maybe about 8:05. It just depends. But I have something I want to gripe about. My gripe is, I've been seeing these videos all over the place. So it says, Carolyn said it's just the black basketball players. All she did was point to a ring, but when the white girl was talking mess, no one said a word about it. Yes, Carolyn, yes, that's true. We did, we got, hey, we're going to get there where we're going to be equal. But back to these videos now, y'all. So nowadays, and again, these black people are following what these white people are doing. These people are going in Walmart, Target, Ross, Marshalls, name it. They get their shopping cart, they fill it up with what they want, and they walk out the store. Did they say that we could go in the store and get anything we want and just walk out without paying? Because no one told me. And everyone, the cashier, even the security guards, the flashlight security guards, they just stand there. The only thing they don't do is hold the door. Did I miss something?
I didn't know that this was something that was increasing in popularity that people were doing.
Right.
So that's concerning. But to your second question, the cashiers are not paid to chase behind criminals, and neither are security. So a lot of companies say once they make it out the store, they're out. That call the police. That's all you could do because we have seen incidents of you go out there, you chase after them, they pull out a gun, and you lose your life over $200 worth of groceries. Where all they're going to do is write it off anyways. And if they find them, ban them from the store. I will say that Walmart recently, I guess over the past year, has upped its visibility as it relates to like self-checkout. Like there's cameras everywhere. So once you go into Walmart, and I spoke to a cashier one day and she was like, oh yeah, we ban people from the store. I said, well, how do you ban them? They're like, they use the technology, find out who they are, and ban them from the store. So when you put your debit card in, it goes to somewhere and you're not allowed to, be in the store. So, for those people who are going to these said stores, filling up their grocery carts and walking out,
They know who you are.
they know who you are. Like,
and they're not the younger crowd. It's I've seen like the 30s and the middle class. I mean middle age, and I'm like, what?
like on one hand, I get that people get to a place where they're just like, I'm just over the rules and I'm over everybody else getting over. And sometimes people, like you said, want to do as other people do. We know that food is high, eggs are expensive, milk is expensive, food, chicken is expensive, like food is expensive. So we understand that. And I understand that people get desperate sometimes and make poor decisions. But I hope that's all it is. It's just one person making a poor decision versus it becoming a trend where people feel like, oh, let's try this. Let's make this part of the initiation for a said group. Or I'm gonna dare you, Red Rover, to go over to Target or Walmart or Kroger, and I bet you won't. I hope it doesn't become something like that.
Well, it looked like it. That's what it is because it's so many. And when you watch the video, I'm like, no, you got to be kidding. I see both race, and I've even seen maybe some Indians. I just seen different races, and what I'm saying is why. And like you said, they're gonna find you everywhere has cameras. Everywhere has cameras. Like, to see how they trace someone is unbelievable. Someone went to the bank and robbed the bank, and they can show you these video cameras from when he left the bank, before he got to the bank, what street he went down on, how long he was there before he went and came out, and they could tell you. So how do you take those kind of chances and do something like that? It's amazing to me. Well, I'm just going to stay on the right side because I just don't want to go on the wrong side. I mean, this is not orange. It's kind of pinkish.
Yeah, that doesn't appeal to me at all. Like, it just doesn't, there's nothing about it that would entice me to want to try it. It's not like the chicken sandwich from Popeyes a couple years ago. Like, oh, maybe I'll try that. But stealing,
no.
Yeah,
but let me tell you what I did. Yesterday, I went into Marshall's and I had bought some stuff. And as I'm walking out Marshall's and I got through the door, before I got to the second door to outside, I saw I left an item in the cart. And I was like, I paid all this money for this rest of this stuff. I was like, So I turned around. So I took it out the cart and I had it in my hand. So as I was going back in, like one of the managers was coming from behind the register. She was like, what's wrong? I said, I stole this. She was like, I'm sorry. I don't have no handcuffs. I laughed about it because she didn't expect me to say, and I went and I was like, but I want it. So she's like, all right. So I went up there to pay for it. But I guess she was shocked that I realized that I didn't pay for it and I was actually coming back in with it. Right. So I guess the whole response, because I'm like, I am not going to jail or my license plate being run for some $4.99 item. Come on now. Or being banned for $4.99 item. But it's just amazing thing, accidents, sometimes it happens, something fall at the bottom of the cart, you have bags and stuff. But what people are really doing, they need to stop. I get it. Like Mckenna said, everything went up. Gas, food, clothes, your water bill, the light, everything is up. So I get that part. But I just feel that people in reality need to chill. They really need to chill. I don't care because they're not running after you. I don't think that it should warrant you to really go into the store and do these things.
And then the long-term effects of that are increased prices. I mean, because all the companies are going to do is pass the expense back onto the consumer. So, if the store has an increase of theft from 3% to 6%, what do? They raise the price of something to recoup the cost of the theft that they're experiencing or loss prevention or whatever the term is that they use for that. So really, it harms everybody in the long run because the company is just going to they're going to eat the cost, but they're going to pass that cost back onto the consumer, because we're going to go to Target, we're going to go to Walmart, we have to get gas. Like, these things are staples and essentials. We're not, there are a few of us that may have a cucumber or tomato plant, but the majority of us, haven't invested in gardening and being, living off the grid, and being so totally self-sufficient. Most of us are metro people who live in a metro environment, who, like their TJ Maxx and their Ross and their Target and their Kroger and their Publix, and are going to continue to shop in these places. People still go to Popeyes, even though Popeyes is extremely expensive these days. Like, I saw the sign 10-piece meal for $28.99. I had to turn around. I was like driving, like, did that say $28.99 for a family meal? I remember when the 10-piece meal was $9.99, and that came with 2 sides and
remember that.
And 4 biscuits.
Yes, you
come on now. It was $9.99, and that sign said $28.99. I said, if I had school-aged young men in my house, they would be eating beans and rice every day. Like, I don't know, it would be a staple.
I'm sorry. I'm so glad, like you said, no school-aged children running around. Because we would be broke then broke.
We'd be rationing out the meat. Like, you get 1 piece of meat, and that's it. And then these beans and this rice.
And these 4 pieces of chicken. And if somebody come over, we're going to have to put the food in the oven and wait till they leave before you can eat. I mean, that part. Well, it's 8:04.
It has been
before
fun.
We go. I forgot. What's today? April what? 5th. Marcus.
What up?
Happy birthday to you.
Well,
So, we the Aries twin in the building. Marcus, your birthday was in March.
Correct. March 24th.
Happy belated.
Aries in the house.
Thank you.
The other Aries over here.
Yes, ma'am.
5 more days, y'all.
All right.
You low key this year? What's up?
You going on a trip? What you doing?
We know you do it big. What's up?
I'm just saying.
Seriously? Yeah.
Seriously, you got a new outfit already?
I'm doing it bigger than last year, but it's no party, nothing, y'all. We'll talk about it when we come back.
All right.
But I am going to go to New York next week.
Okay.
I have not been to New York, New Jersey for maybe about 2017.
Okay.
So I am going next week. I'm gonna do that. I'm looking forward to it because oh my gosh, family and friends that I haven't seen. So I'm definitely gonna do it.
It's always good.
And the other, I'm gonna tell y'all about it the next week after that.
All right.
There's a lot of changes, and 2023 for me is really living and making every day count.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter from the smallest thing to the biggest thing. I'm going to make it count, because when I tell you, you can be up one day and down the next, or vice versa.
Yes, ma'am.
You can be in a chill position, and it's like somebody just snatched. It's freezing outside, and somebody snatch that jacket off of you. That's how life is. So yes, Carolyn birthday is tomorrow,
happy birthday then, Carolyn.
Happy birthday, Carolyn.
Happy birthday, Carolyn. Yes.
Tomorrow is my other sister birthday. Tiffany is April 6th as well. So shout out to all the Aries, the April Aries, the March Aries. Kudos, but seriously, to everyone that is listening, make every day count. We got to make it count. We say this all the time, life is too short, etc., etc. But besides life being so short, let every day count and put your good foot forward. So that's my thing for 2020, and growth. So we can't do anything else. Let's grow. So until next Wednesday, yes, we'll be back next Wednesday. I can do that. Because I leave Thursday. I leave Thursday. So we'll be back Wednesday, and we're going to be back on time so we can get the hour show in. thank you guys for supporting us. We couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you so much for supporting the powerhouseradio.com and 89.1 FM. And of course, Let's Gripe. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much from my heart for always supporting us. Peace out until next week.
All right, to our listeners, it was great to be back. You guys have a good week. Be intentional because tomorrow isn't promised. Until next week, this is McKenna.
And this is MG. We love y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Have a good night. Powerhouse, take us out.
If you're at home, if you're on your phone, let's gripe, baby. Driving home and you're feeling kind of tired. Hey, radio play the same thing every day. So you need a little switch in your life. Traffic got you jammed up every night. Tune in to Powerhouse. Wednesday, 7 to 9, you need to check them out. I promise I ain't trying to hype, but one good listen tonight, it might change your life. So what's the name of the show? You need something to just ride to on the go. Or you might be home, so log on. You can even dial in on your phone. I promise that you're gonna love it. Just try it one time, it'll blow your mind. Now I'ma say it just one more time. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe. Let's gripe.